Next Mishnah. Got it? You know, actually I want to read this Sulam parish this time. Ka'ashir Ratzon Elyon, yeah? Lamala she'asod keter de erachanpin omed v'niskan al oso ratzon shelo noda v'lo nitfas la'olam she'asod rosh atik shenikra reisha de lo isyad nasa keter de erachanpin mishum zeh rosh hasaitim yaiser lamala. Basically, another way of saying this is all very high stuff, and it's about the unknowable head. Rosh hazeh ha'atzil masha ha'atzil, that this head, Keser, right? Atzilus is the head. Maybe this is what we're saying, the head of Yaakov, right? Yaakov is Zeranpin. And that's exactly what we're saying. Rabbi Shimon is saying, okay, I got the Zeranpin thing, no problem. I step in a David, I'm Zeranpin, right? Not literally. We're saying I'm stepping into that lavush, right? It's a zman bracha that I get the moichin of Zohar. But the head is really erachanpin. So we know that when Yaakov, the parts of Yaakov has mochin and becomes Yisrael and mochin the godless, he's receiving from erachanpin. So the head of Atzilus, effectively, is when Yaakov becomes the head of Yisrael, right? Which is interesting. Because the head of Esav becomes Shalom, right? The Gematria Esav, Shalom, Machpelah, right? So now we say the head of Yaakov, this is that whole thing we're talking about. The head of Yaakov is now going to be the head of Yisrael, which we always see as Yisrael, Rosh Li. And for those following along, by the way, in Bereshis, when Yaakov is at Beit El, and he pours libation on the rock, and he has a dream with the Sulam. By the way, we're learning the Sulam, apropos, Mazel. Right? He says, this is the house of God. Anyone that knows the Rambam knows there's 3 requirements of Mashiach. Goliath, right? Kibbutz Goliath, build the base of Mikdash. Was there one? I forget. Mashiach, anointed. If you look at the Psukim, Yaakov went to Beit El. That is not a drasha. This is one of the places the base of Mikdash in the Chumash is not a drasha. It is pshat, right? He says this is the house of God, Beit El, Temple Mount. The source of grafting the nations in, and Kibbutz Goliath is right there. Or you'll be a blessing for the families on the earth, continuing the bracha from Avram Avinu. And it says he poured oil on its head. Now it's the libation of the rock, but if you look in the entire Tanakh, only by 3 people does it ever say they poured oil on their head. Yaakov here on the rock's head, Aaron, when he got the Kuna Gedolah, and Elisha anointing. I think it was Elisha, Eliyahu or Elisha. I forget. Yehu, the kings. Thus, Yaakov, as you can see, and when you read it also, it says that he had a dream and his sulam, his head reached Shemayim. If you look in the Hebrew, it makes sense to read it that perhaps not the Alpi Kabbalah, that the sulam's head did not make it to Shemayim, but Yaakov's head. Right? And Yaakov may be a mushal for the Sulam, i.e. the reason why the Sulam calls his parish on the Zohar Sulam, bridging the worlds, that Atzilus and Asiya really are connected more than we know. And Yaakov is that, and then the head of that will be the sanctity of the head of Yaakov, which we say that's why he put the stones around his head, to show the sanctity of Yaakov's head. So it all makes sense, if you think into it. And so therefore, the head, this head, right, the Godhead in our lower world is the emanating into a lower world. Right? So God comes to a low level for him, which is the head of Atzilus, which is very high for us. And he emanates thoughts into our world, and then those thoughts are emanated into our world through man. Right? How do thoughts come into our world? God created a chariot to the divine called man. Man thinks, therefore he is. And we have the world goes around. Man is the king over the world, right? And the base of Mikdash is the Khatimah on that. So our thoughts really drive society. And that's what makes man special, is that we think and nobody else does. And this takes place in the 3 levels of Keter. Right? The Godhead is in the 3 levels of Keter, right? Tell him that he is, hey, you are, I am. Then I am is revealed to the guy stepping into Zohar. If he's lucky, if he's davening right, he'll go about his life realizing who he is, what he is, revelation of self, which means he's thinking. Those thoughts will come into the world, and he should be able to make an impact on this world if he is a successful Baal Shefa. Haratzon shel hamakshavah elyoina l'kesra de'erech anpin. So God does know why he created the world. And I'm saying God lowering himself, right? He brings that ratzon to interface with our world. So as far as we're concerned with God consciousness, God comes to the table knowing why he created the world. Which means when you approach the king, you could have a havamina in a weird kind of way to say, hey, why'd you create the world? Right? It's not so far beyond that you can't conceive the question. Meaning God approaches you in tefillah, and therefore Rabbi Shimon saying to himself, hey, if God's coming to the table with this ratzon, I'm going to ask. I'm going to go into prayer and say, hey, why'd you create this thing? That's called reshus. He had permission. After v'acher shenizkem v'china rosh nikra makshava ilah, hu lirdof achrav acher reisha delo yada l'kabel araso. Rabbi Shimon wanted to enter this level of the unknowable head, and he wanted to receive the light. So it's not so much to say, I'm going to know why God created the world. What he wanted to do was approach that chamber, okay, with intention. And if the mechanism of the world works, I will have received that mochen. Right? If I step into Erech Anpin, bekavana, then by the dictation of the world, I should have received why God created the world. Now, I have to meditate on that maybe my whole life. But it's in my head, right? I'm triggering in my mind that thing. My job is to be a Talmud Chacham and a Bo Nister and really Mashiach to understand and isolate and get rid of the static to say, I got it. I know why God created the world. But you can't really because it's called the unknowable head. It's not called the almost unknowable head. But technically you know because you received it. But that doesn't mean you know it consciously. You just know for a fact that it's in me. Right? So if as long as you go through the motion, you'll know for a fact that it's in you. And you at least, what you do from there, I don't know. Because you're probably not going to get it still anyways. But, anyways. Aval parsa echas nifrasha bein reisha de lo yada los yada ketra mitok parsa zo beredifis makshava yoina ketra acher orosh reisha de lo yada or megia ve'ena megia alav kia parsa ma'akevis elav. So there's a, what do you call that? A barrier. So God brings his thoughts down through 3 levels of Keter. You with me? And there's a barrier. It's not coming through. Right? You're not going to get that revelation. It's just not going to happen. And the thoughts stop in Keser. So it reaches the world, but yet it doesn't. Right? Kind of like mati lo mati. It reaches, but it doesn't reach. You know it, but you don't know it. Ki aparsa is holding it back. V'kach an aparsa meir masha meir v'lo mefarsa l'mata keim makshav el yoina meira b'hara stuma m'olcha stima v'or she'ina yadol m'olcha levira makshav asma shoketra v'u b'china lo yada. God's thinking, you know he's thinking, you're thinking, and you know what? My thoughts are not your thoughts. You have no idea what God's thinking. But you know he is thinking. You're aware that God is thinking. And you're thinking. That's about as high as you're going to get. Skip to the next Mishnah. Az ha'oira zo shel makshava shel noda hach b'haris v'faris v'medis u'me'ira b'gimel u'miyutim hanal shehem ima she'ena yadua b'molcha devira eno noda b'ketra v'lo nigla b'molcha destima kach hach ha'oris ha'makshava shel noda shehi reishad lo yada b'ha'oris v'parsa u'me'irim yochad Perush ki ha'oris reishad lo yada Hach v'chazar v'yahori avarsel l'makom l'malchus sha'al yidei zeh chazar l'chul madrega gimel keleb bina tferes malchus sheniflu v'meina in yishlamu shuba ketachol bina tferes malchus l'kelim all 10 spheres to iris nekuda. The light's gonna come down. With me? The light's gonna come down and strike the parsa. What's gonna happen then is you didn't exist right now. I don't know where you were, who you were, and I really don't care. Right? You were living life, whatever you were doing. 1 second. Doing good. Yeah. Before I explain, I want to give a mushal. Did you ever see Indiana Jones in the Last Crusade? And when he got to the end of the movie, there was 3 stunts he had to do, right? He had to kneel before God. The blades were coming. He got through that one. And then he had to spell out God's name, the rocks. And then he got through. Then there was an invisible bridge. And faith got through, and he got the night. That's the 3 levels of Kesser. Why? Because they're like a lock system. So you can get up, let's say, through Malchus into Zohar, and your Miskav into Erech, right? Once you reach Kesser, you're not going to get through the next 2 levels of Erech proper in a Vatik. Right? You would have to be so ninja jiu-jitsu to fight God, basically. Right? You would have to outthink God. Because remember, his thoughts are coming down. Right? So you would have to be going up, outthink him. Obviously, you're not going to win that. Therefore, those thoughts are coming down through those chambers. And it becomes makshava. By the time it's lowered by hitting the parsa, it's a makshava. It's a mamish thought coming from God. It's going to penetrate into Malchus of Itzilus. Remember, you're lost. You don't matter. You are out being Jim, the truck driver. And you might be having a great life. It's great being Jim, right? You know how to spot every thing for your truck. You're loving it. You are, the women are saying, hey, Jim, you're quite the truck driver. And he's like, yeah, I'm pretty good, All of a sudden, guess what happened to Jim? He got a puncture. His tire blew. Now all of a sudden he's going, oh, this is horrible. I hate this truck. It always gets cut on this turn. Why do I always have to get the truck with the flat tire? Why is it always Jim? What? Wait, hey, Jim, you were the guy 5 minutes ago. You were saying how you were the guy. All of a sudden now you're hating life. Why me? What it is Jim doesn't think being Jim. Jim is being told what to think. Tell him he's a truck driver. You're a truck driver. I am a truck driver. Now, Jim has to think for himself. What am I going to do? Who do I call to change the tire? I don't know anybody over here. What am I going to do? I'm going to get fired? Now Jim's thinking. Now he's really being Jim. Before he wasn't being Jim. He was being the Avodah Zarah of Jim, who he thought he was down here. When everyone was like, hey, we're all with you, Jim. It's all Achdus, man. Go you. Now we're fighting with Jim. Because the thought came down. Jim's got to think. And the reason why he's got to think is because, yeah, you're thinking, right? I would say, hey, can you call the guy to help change my tire? Nah, I got my management to do. Sorry, Jim. You always do this to me. Why are you such a rude guy? Wait a minute, Jim, 5 minutes ago this was your boy. Meaning, the entire Bria is now thinking. And they're upset at God that they lost their ego. Because I was the guy, you were selling beer in the gas station, and the women came in, we were talking, it was great. The egos got along. Right? I'm a cool guy, you're helping me, we're all great. It's ego! And we get along with ego. You make me look good, I make you look good. Now, God took away the ego. It's like a tefillah. God, why? Why? And the manager's going, why? Why is this me? And I don't care about you, and you don't care about me. But really we do. But I'm too busy thinking. And you're too busy thinking. Because God sent the thought down. That means you rose up to receive the thoughts of God. Now there's a gym. Now there's a world. Now there's a gas station. Now there's a planet Earth. Now there's a Keter, Chachma, Bina, da. All of it seems to say, whoa, where did I come from? Where did I come from? And God says, oh, you mean Anochi Hashem Elokecha? Because you're quite aware of God now. But now you gotta really to do the davening. Trust in God. It's okay, Jim. Tires break. It's okay. You survived the last one. You'll survive this one. Just daven. And he says, oh, I don't believe in that davening stuff. But if you were just daven, you'd get the unique oneness. You'll elevate the Erech Anpin, and you'll think like God. But you don't want to. You're convinced that your thoughts are better. If you would relinquish your thoughts and rise above your thoughts, you would know what God's thinking. But you don't know what God's thinking, so you're saying, what am I going to do? The answer is, if you are a Navi, you know what God's thinking, you wouldn't freak out. But you don't want to think like a Navi. You want to say, what am I going to do? What you're really saying is, God, what are you going to do? Because I don't know what you're thinking. Give me a flat tire on my busy work Tuesday. Got it? So, again, to paraphrase, all of Atzilos now is in shock, like a baby being born. All systems operative. I wasn't even aware I was alive. I thought I was living being the Avodah Zarah that I was, of myself. Now I gotta really be me. I'm no longer the cool guy, right? I'm just a guy panicking, trying to be alive. That's actually the real life. And then the Parsa, you rose up. You didn't realize you rose up. Because now you're davening against your will. So now, as soon as you go up, you're going to be pushed down into the world. You know, hey, you got a flat tire there, buddy. Yeah, what are we going to do about it? I don't know. We got to check it out. You got a hammer? Right, now we're thinking. But you don't want to think, but you're thinking. Because God pushed those thoughts into the world. Now, for this guy, he's loving it. I've always wanted to try to change a tire on a semi-truck. I'm loving life. So I'm here to help. God's here to help you. Right? I sent you the helicopter, the fire truck, that muscle, right? Here's this guy. Jim, relax. God's sending you this guy. So then when this guy has a bad day, he'll send you, Jim, to him. That's why God's great. Remember, it's one light. We all get along. We're here to help you. You don't need to think about anything. Now, it comes out of the time. Okay, everything systems go. And we're going to come down to the next part. There are the three heads of Erech Anpin. They light up together with the unknowable head, and it's one Madrega. Right? So now God is in thought, and we are employed to think like God. There are 9 chambers that are made 9 chambers. Right? So there's the highest level of Kesser, and its association with the bottom 2. And then there's the middle level of Kesser, and its association with those 2. And the bottom level of Kesser, its association with those 2. 9 Heicholos. And the 10th chamber is the fact that you still don't know what we're talking about. It's the unknowable head. So Kesser, in its highest level, becomes a full set of 10 functions. Heicholos. It's higher than Sfirot. It's like where God dwells when he enters this world. That's high stuff. That means he's thinking it all through in one snap of a finger in those chambers. Okay. And these 9 chambers are Kesser, and they're not a Ruach, not a Neshama, and nobody can stand there. Right? So nobody can get up there. If you ever met a guy that said, hey, you know, I was davening, I had a full Giloy of the 9 chambers. No, you didn't. That's why Indiana Jones is a bad marshal in real life, right? He didn't clear those blades and stuff. The Or Ein Sof in light is shining into that unknowable head. And she'ein makshava tfisa bo. No makshava can be typhus in those chambers. Meaning, just like we saw Ma was the Chesadim making malleable the lights of Bon in Brudim to Atzilus, correct? You cannot take your mind and project in those chambers and make it malleable. Navigate, right? You know, when you think things through, right? You say, okay, I got 10 things to do today. Okay, I got to go to the store, then we'll go to the Midrachov, I'm going to pay some bills, and I got to go, right? You can do that, right? You cannot do that there. You cannot, there's no meditation and pathways that you can do to typhus makshava shama. Haratzon shel teisha ha'oiris the gimel reishin erchanpin shekulam oimdim b'makshava dehainu b'imkoimin erchanpin nikri makshava shechad mehem b'cheshbin. 1/10 of that world is makshava. Meaning it's not devoid of makshava, it's just not entirely makshava. Tell him he's a truck driver. Was that a makshava? Yes. Was it my entire makshava? No. Therefore, there is makshava up there. It is happening. But it's only one of the 9. One of the 10, one of the 9. And we are excluding, again, to exclude the unknowable head, which is 10. So the meaning of life is up there in makshava. I mean, it is happening. It's a fractal. God is all the time saying, this is why I'm creating, this is why I'm creating. If you were really keen, all the time, you would be getting the message from God, that's why he's creating the world. And you would say, man, God, you are amazing. I love you. I love life. Right? Hey, we just had a tornado come through your neighborhood. Isn't that great, Dave? Yes, God, it's amazing. That's why you created the world. I love it. But I'm not there. I'm not able to understand the ratzon of life on that level. Why? Because my makshavas cannot be typhus in that mechanism of the heichalos above. I know there is a meaning of life. I have emunah. I believe. I try to trust God in this world where there's not the 9 heichalos. But I really don't know why God is doing this and why he created the world like this. I wish I knew. I have some svaras why. But would I bet everything on it and say I know why? No. And the irony is, he's telling you all the time. Everything you do, he's telling you, hey, that's why I created the world. But nobody can grasp it. Okay. We're doing good. Actually, we're doing very good. But you covered the whole notes by well back. That was good. Okay. So the 9 Heichalas, Einam Omdin, Lovuchias Ratzel, Lovuchias Makshav El Yoina, Shir Chanpin, Taisim Bav, Aim, Taisim Elu, Tes Heichalin, Nimsoim, Oinin, Kol, Sidus, Amuna. Those 9 chambers contain every secret of Amuna. The Kol Elu Ha'iris Besod Makshav El Yoina, Shir Chanpin, Mekublim, Mehem Kulam Kol Tes Heichalin, Nikraim Ein Sof. Just like we said, God enters the Simsum as a levush, a stalshalis, that Erech Anpin eventually is Maslavish and Zohar. This actually is akin to the Or Ein Sof. Those 9 chambers are so infinite. It's the levush of the Or Ein Sof into our world, and it still resembles the Or Ein Sof. They're really not here. God's thoughts are here, but they're not here. God's here right now. Right? God's with me right now, but I don't know about it. God's with you right now. I don't know about it. He's with us and there's one right now. I don't know about it. I just know it's true. Right? It's true the whole spectrum. But it becomes the most true in Kesser, because that's really where the creation begins. That's where Bereshis is. Bereshis is not back then, 5,775 years ago. It's up there. Got that? We think it's behind us. It isn't. It's up there. So when you get stuff forward in time, it actually came from above. So you get all the different directions. Ka'ashia me'ira machshava shelo nada mimihi me'ira dahaino mocha davira kanal. Interestingly enough, the problem, this is awesome. God's thoughts are quantum physics. That was my chiddush. In Kesser, on that level, he says, it's not known where the thoughts come from. Right? Imagine such a thought process where you got hit from different angles. Like a ninja, right? Kind of like, imagine if I were to say couch, window, book, wall, lamp. You say, oh, okay, yeah, for sure. That means take out the garbage at 9 o'clock. Got it. Like code, right? The thoughts are coming, and you can't know where they came from. You can't know. So down here in this world, too, we mimic it, right? When you get a thought, you don't know where it came from. I don't know if it was you that inspired me, if I heard it subliminally on the radio in my kids' room, somebody shouted from outside, made me think of it. I don't know, and you can't know. All you know is you think. And the good thing is it's mazel, and you can't stop it. So when you're bored saying, man, there's nothing to think about, this is boring. Guess what? That means that you're going to be called up to duty really soon and get thoughts. And you say, there's nothing to think about. Nothing ever happens. But God always gives you things to think about. And it's mazel. You're going to go to the store and you're going to hear this thing. God gets the thoughts, but you'll never be able to map them out. It's always quantum physics. The thoughts come and you won't know where they came from. And they're all enclosed and hidden in Bina. By the time you're thinking, you don't know where it came from. That's why Bina is the first level of Yesh. Right? The Chachma, if you have Chachma, just say thank God, because you don't know where it came from. And we're getting towards the end here. Baruch Hashem. Yeah, this is good stuff. Yeah, here we go. This is the end. Ready? Ubesod hakorban kisha'ola ala mizbeach nasu kol elu hayichudim hagemoration erech anpin beresha delo isyada ubina birosh erech anpin al derech shenizber ad hine shemetachila niskesher hakol zeh v'zeh be'es Yeridus Haparsa Oshabina Teferis Malchus the Kul Madrega Chayzrim and Makom Atachton Madregason Be'elyon Ma'alim Az Imahem Gam is a Tachtoin Liyoso Devuk Behem Im soyim elu bina tiveres malchus choyzrin medregasam. Shem mekashrin kol atachton be'elyon. Meaning, when the thoughts come, everyone back to work. Yeah, everyone back to work. You know, all the Atzilus is in full Mashiach mode. Mochin regardless, Bina's operating. You know, like the steam engine's going out of nowhere.